Welcome back to sports. I'm Corey Brooks. Well, we've been talking all season long about how talented the Gator men's basketball team is.
You know what's crazy, Mike, is that Florida struggled last week against Georgia. Obviously, the floor routine with the two perfect tens was a dominant performance for Rhonda Fain's squad.
And then finally get to Saturday in a big-time SEC showdown between the Florida Gators and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Seriously, that's a big SEC East match this year.
It's been a tradition at the University of Florida for over 60 years.
I can put on a shirt and tie and do my own version of 2 bits, but nobody really would listen. We're here at the Dolphins training facility in Davie for the start of training camp, a much anticipated season for the Miami Dolphins. Well, when you look at these two quarterbacks, Mark, they're almost polar opposites in terms of what they do on a football field, and that's going to be the key to a 2-quarterback system, according to offensive coordinator Kurt Roper. Well, it was a chilly day here in Jacksonville at Everbank Field, but the Gators' rushing attack came in hot to the tune of 418 rushing yards. Hey, the dog days of summer are finally over. Football is back in South Florida. Game 1 of the preseason, Dolphins and Falcons, all the focus on the quarterback Ryan Tannehill and the rest of this new offense, and you can't start out any better than this. Look at that blocking. Tannehill, 36 yards to Rashard Matthews. Tannehill's going to go 6 for 6 on his only drive of the game. Then Tannehill finds Brandon Gibson in the end zone. Gibson, his first game back since missing most of last year with that knee injury. First Dolphins preseason opening touchdown in over 25 years. The fans love it. Offense takes a step up. Defense takes a step back. Ooh, Jimmy Wilson just gets shook out of his shoes, and the Falcons' Anton Smith goes all the way down the field to score. The Dolphins defense can't stop him, but the refs can. That one's called back on a penalty. Lucky break for the Fins, but the Falcons do go on to win this one 16-10.
I thought that our guys played hard. I thought our guys played tough. Unfortunately, as I just said to the team in the locker room, there's some things that have happened in practice that reared their ugly head at a bad time in a game.
And some more bad news for the Dolphins defense today is starting safety Rashad Jones has been suspended for the first 4 regular season games of the year for violating the league's policy on performance-enhancing substances. He's the second Dolphin to be suspended for violating that policy. And longtime Heat icon Alonzo Mourning is now a Basketball Hall of Famer. Zoe was inducted tonight, and he was all class as usual during his speech, thanking pretty much everybody, including Heat President Pat Riley.
Pat builds cultures of winning by enforcing professionalism and preparation, which became a part of my DNA. He drove players such as me, Tim Hardaway, Dwayne Wade, P.J. Brown, Udonis Haslem, to be the best we could be. I'm very thankful for his tutelage, his friendship, and decades of mentorship.
Hey, you love to see Zoe get the recognition he worked so hard for. And you love to see the Dolphins offense playing well. 3 more chances to tune it up. Next one coming next Saturday against the Bucs. That's the story tonight from South Florida. Corey Brooks, Local 10 News. Welcome back to sports. I'm Corey Brooks. Well, we've been talking all season long about how talented the Gator men's basketball team is. They just need to put together a full game to really showcase those skills. The theme of the year has been a series of disappointing second halves, and that was absolutely not the case last night. The Gators put on a clinic against the Yale Bulldogs on both ends of the court. It started with the offense for Florida as the ball movement was absolutely flawless. Casey Hill with 10 assists, and the freshman Chris Chioza were the spark plugs driving the Florida attack. And if they were the spark plugs, Chris Walker and Michael Frazier were the engine as they absolutely motored past the Bulldogs defense. And this was a Yale team that just beat the reigning national champions in their last game. Oh yeah, the Gator defense was good too, as Florida gets the 85-47 win to get back to 500 on the year. And for the first time all season, the dean of the SEC was happy.
I'm anxious to see because we have not been consistent. So for me to sit there and say, okay, now we got it, and we're going to kind of go on, and that's the next step right now. Can we have a consistent performance the next game out? Can we play consistently again? Can we do the right things? That's going to be the challenge.
Well, that was as happy as Billy gets. We'll see if they can keep the good going Friday against Texas Southern. There's a lot of hoops in Gainesville this weekend. The men have 2 more games, and the women play Wisconsin tomorrow in the Dome. The Badgers haven't come up yet this season. They had a rough start to the year at 2-5. Meanwhile, the Gators are 5-3, coming off a tough loss to the Florida State Seminoles in Tally. In fact, all of Florida's 3 losses came on the road, while the Gators are 5-0 at home. And they'll be playing in Gainesville tomorrow against a team that's coming off a big win against Marquette.
Their size is something that we're going to have to worry about, something we're going to have to prepare for. And like I said, the momentum that they have, they played a really, really tough schedule. And they're coming off of, a very, very big win. So I think it's a team that's battle-tested and feeling good.
Tip for this one's at 7, and the first 500 fans get a great tacky Christmas t-shirt, useful for all your tacky sweater party needs. Well, for many of us, the fantasy playoffs began this past weekend, and the odds are if you have some Green Bay Packers, you're in those playoffs. And you were probably pretty happy last night. Absolutely perfect football weather in Green Bay as the Pack take on the NFC South leading Falcons. Wow, that's sad. Quick start here as Rodgers rolls out and finds Jordy Nelson down the field. Now the Packers would eventually go on and score and rack up 17 more points before the half. But wait, there's more. 30 seconds left till half. Rodgers avoids the pressure, gets right back and finds Jordy Nelson in the back of the end zone to drop 31 first half points on the Falcons. No discount double check for Atlanta. Answering back, Julio Jones, the former Alabama wide receiver, skies over 2 defenders to bring the Dirty Birds within 11. But Rodgers says no comeback today as he loads up, fires, and finds, guess who? Jordy Nelson again, not Randall Cobb, who I have in fantasy, as the Packers hold on to get the 43-37 win. And sticking with the NFL, there hasn't been a lot to be excited about if you're a Cleveland Browns fan the past few decades. But if there's one word to describe Johnny Manziel, it's exciting. And the former A&M quarterback will be the starter in Cleveland as they welcome in the Cincinnati Bengals. The rookie quarterback's highlights so far have included a rushing touchdown and a fumble 6. But now he'll take center stage in a pivotal division matchup against a head coach that recently called him a midget. So motivation, certainly not an issue.
You realize something terribly was wrong, and he couldn't stop it.
On Saturday, there was chaos at Flavette Field. Today, everything was pretty much back to normal. The fence was still broken, but the plane wreckage and smashed truck have been removed. The McDonald's banner the plane was carrying was found a mile away.
We spoke to some forestry rangers earlier today, and they told us the plane hit the ground here. You can see these skid marks, and then rolled into that fence over there.
UF Physical Plant lifted the plane into a truck and took it away. Overall, things could have been worse, but the fact that it was game day actually made the response of emergency services better.
Specifically an airplane crash at Flavette Field, no, you can never predict where that's going to happen. But, we do plan for large events. In this situation, it was prior to a football game. So all of incident command was already in place for law enforcement and for ambulance personnel, fire personnel responding to the scene.
The pilot also managed to find one of the only parts of campus not completely filled with game day tailgaters.
The amazing part is, and the pilot, kudos to the pilot, it is obvious that he took an effort not to hit anything.
Going forward, GPD would like to see some changes.
I think if you spoke to any law enforcement official on a college campus in the United States right now, they would be absolutely for a more restricted area, more restricted flight space.
Right now, air traffic is only restricted over large venues 1 hour before game time. Corey Brooks, WFT News. When you meet Nick, you'd think he's just a normal 11-year-old boy. He's kind, competitive, and he's got a big heart. Literally. Nick suffers from hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, essentially a thick heart muscle. The American Heart Association reports that about 150 young athletes die from this condition every year. So Nick had to give up what he loves.
He's an active kid. And that's what's heartbreaking for me, is because when he wants to play, he wants to be a regular active kid, and he can't.
Nick then had to get a defibrillator surgically implanted in his chest. Now he takes daily beta blockers, but has to be careful. If Nick's defibrillator is bumped, even in passing, it causes him extreme pain.
He's a warrior. He's without a doubt my best hero I've ever had. I'm amazed every day at what he accomplishes and everything that he has to go through, just to make it through everyday life.
Nick played soccer and baseball before his diagnosis. Now, those sports are off the table. So Nick turned to bowling.
Once I found out that I couldn't do stuff, it was hard to find out which sport I could do.
While bowling may be a bit of a recreational sport, it's not easy to come in and be good right away. Like Nick will tell you, it took him a while. Nick has come a long way since he started bowling. One key to that is UF bowling coach Mike Paiva, who works with Nick during practice sessions. Paiva bowled on the very first bowling team at University of Florida and has been the head coach of the Gator squad for the last 26 years.
A real fun kid to be around. He's got a great passion for what he wants to do. And as a coach, that's the number one thing that you're looking for, someone that has a passion for it. And also as a coach, it's really nice is that he listens, he tries things, and he truly wants to get better.
Nick is pretty proud of the development he has shown as well. Nick's coach isn't the only support that he gets. As a Children's Miracle Network family, the Mullins have received an outpouring of support.
We're just a couple years into the Gainesville community, so this was really a way for us to engage in the community, to see Nick kind of be treated like a rock star. He eats up that attention.
So Nick isn't exactly your average 11-year-old boy. He's gone through more hardship in 11 years than most do in their lifetimes. Still, he's upbeat and has energy to spare. Corey Brooks, WUFT News.